Living in Pennsylvania is amazing, but there are probably some things that you haven't thought about that you need to know before making the move here. Stick to the end to find out something that you need to be aware of once you're living here. Hi there, I'm Corey Benhart. I specialize in helping people just like you make the move to Pennsylvania, and more specifically the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. I would love to help you find your perfect home. All of my contact information is below, and the first thing you need to consider before making the move here is the taxes. One of the main advantages of living in Pennsylvania is that we are a flat rate income tax state, meaning no matter how much you make, everyone is taxed at the same 3.07% tax rate, and that doesn't fluctuate by how much you make as it does in most other states. The sales tax is 6% throughout the state, except for Allegheny County and Philadelphia County, which are 7% and 8% total sales tax, but everywhere else throughout the entire state is a flat 6% sales tax. Shockingly enough, Pennsylvania has one of the highest gas tax throughout the entire country, but the good news is that certainly does not correlate to having one of the highest gas prices in the country. Pennsylvania is supposedly working on lowering the gas tax just because it is truly just unnecessary how high our gas tax is, so we'll see if that ends up happening or not. The next thing that you need to be aware of before making the move here is that we have all 4 seasons. We have snowy winters, warm springs, hot and humid summers, and of course the beautiful brisk fall season as well. In spring, the average is between 55 to 70 degrees. In summer, between 75 to 90 degrees. In fall, the average is between 45 to 55. And in winter, it's around 30 to 45 degrees. Sometimes in the winter, we might get a little lucky with 1 or 2 days in the 50s. Being one of the few states throughout the entire country that truly experiences all 4 seasons is amazing. But the one thing that you probably haven't taken into account is sometimes the weather here can get pretty weird. Sometimes it feels like we have multiple seasons all in one day. It could be freezing in the morning, very hot during the day, and nice and cool and brisk at night. Our summers can be very humid, with sometimes having the humidity levels hitting around 70 to 85% pure humidity, which compared to the southern states is nothing. But if you're not familiar with humid, I would certainly recommend taking a trip to Pennsylvania during the summer to see if this is a humidity that you can handle. The good thing is, for the most part, once we hit those very humid days, then it will rain and really bring down that humidity level significantly. Some winters we will receive multiple feet of snow, and others will receive only around 3 to 6 inches for the entire season. Luckily, the past couple of years, we really haven't received that much snow really whatsoever. So we have been pretty lucky if you're someone who isn't too crazy about snow. Speaking of weather, another thing that you might not have factored in when thinking about making the move to Pennsylvania is the allergies. Each year, Pennsylvania ranks as one of the top states for the worst seasonal allergies. Of course, there are towns within Pennsylvania where the allergies are worse than others, but keep in mind that allergies affect all different people in all different ways. So some people might have horrible seasonal allergies in Pennsylvania and others might not have any. And if you have allergies in your home state currently, that is no correlation to if you will have allergies here in PA. Another thing that you might not know about Pennsylvania is how weird our liquor laws are here. We're one of the few states that you can't just go into any type of convenient or grocery store and buy any type of wine, beer, or liquor or anything like that that you're looking for. Alcohol laws in Pennsylvania are definitely becoming much more lax over the past couple of years, but when it comes to buying liquor, there is still only one store in the entire state, which although there are multiple individual stores all throughout the state, there is one chain of stores which we call the state stores. These wine and liquor stores are all over Pennsylvania, so you'll never have to drive too far to get to one, but you definitely will not be able to go to just any grocery store or convenience store to buy liquor. We are seeing some chains of grocery stores and convenience stores that are now legally allowed to sell wine and beer, but at a maximum capacity as well per person. Now let's get into something that affects everyone, which is the housing cost in PA. If you're thinking about making the move here to buy your new home, it's likely that you're moving from a state where the average cost of living is much higher than in PA, which is great, but depending on where in Pennsylvania you're planning to move to, the housing and overall overall cost can greatly vary. Not always, but for the most part, the more desirable areas within the state are typically the most higher priced areas as well. The average price of a home in Pennsylvania is $272,477, up 5% from last year. This is just the average. So of course, depending on where within Pennsylvania you end up looking in, and also depending on what type of home you're looking for, this average price point can change dramatically. The next major thing that you need to consider is the healthcare. Most of the East Coast, and more specifically the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, is known to have some tremendous healthcare. This area has some of the best hospitals in the country, such as the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, Jefferson Health, Mainline Health, Doylestown Hospital, just to name a few. Pennsylvania ranked 9th for the best quality healthcare in the country and 8th for the overall most convenient access to healthcare. Truthfully, I think the access to healthcare should be much better than the 8th overall, because that's also taking into account the middle of Pennsylvania, where there's really not much going on, as opposed to if you were to live somewhere on the west or the east side, where we have the two biggest cities within the state. That's where you'll see tremendous access to healthcare. A quick fun fact that 1 in 6 doctors throughout the entire country was trained right here in Philadelphia, which truly tells you just how phenomenal healthcare is in this area. Now let's go over the education in PA. Out of over 12,500 total districts throughout the country, Pennsylvania has 1 district in the top 10 and 2 additional districts in the top 25 in the country. Besides those top 3, there are tons of amazing districts all throughout the state. So if school is one of the most important factors for you, I would love to help you find your perfect area here in PA. Now, when it comes to higher education, Pennsylvania has 1 Ivy League school, which is the University of Pennsylvania. But besides the Ivy League school, we also have some tremendous other colleges and universities, such as Carnegie Mellon, the Wharton School of Business, Penn State, Drexel University, Villanova, and so many more. One of the main things that I can almost guarantee that you did not take into account when thinking about making the move to PA is the wildlife. Of course, no one is actually not going to move somewhere just because of the wildlife, but it is certainly something that's really good to know. Besides squirrels, the most common wildlife animal that you'll see here are deer. And depending on where in Pennsylvania you end up moving to, you will see them everywhere. Pennsylvania has some of the highest deer-involved car accidents in the country, with a 1 in 52 chance that you'll hit a deer. I am born and raised here in Pennsylvania, and knock on wood, I have never hit a deer, but many people often do. So if you're planning on moving to Pennsylvania and you find yourself driving on a back suburban dark road, please be very careful, because these deer will jump out of nowhere right into your car. Besides deer, we have the occasional black bear in the very remote parts of Pennsylvania, raccoons, skunks, foxes, and even the occasional bald eagle as well. The amount of wildlife that you'll see overall drastically depends on where within the state you're moving to. Of course, the more rural areas, you will see tons of wildlife compared to the more suburban and city type feel, where you certainly won't see as much. I hope that these things will not keep you from making the move to Pennsylvania, because truly there are so many more incredible things about moving here. When the time comes for you to make the move, I would love to help you find your perfect home. All of my contact information is below, or you can click the contact link in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you over on this next video.